Everybody, it's Dr. Forth, and today we're actually going to be wrapping up our series on detoxification. So we have a little summary of the materials we've covered and also how we can naturally support our body's detoxification process. So by now you should know that there's no single magic supplement or process you can do that will perfectly detox everything. And you know the organs that are already involved in natural detoxification of the body. And we talked about the liver, the kidneys, the gut, and also to some degree the skin. And so we want to always be thinking about how we can support them in their natural detoxification processes. So when we take in materials, all of those materials have to be processed by the organs of the body. And if we absorb them, we want to use it for growth, repair, or for energy production. Some of those materials are not useful for any of those things. Food additives, preservatives, environmental contaminants. So if those come into the body and they're not useful for anything, we have to get rid of them so that it doesn't cause harm and it's not wasting body resources. Some of those materials end up getting stored in the body. Generally speaking, storage happens in the fat cells, but we can also have storage in some of the other tissues, including bone, particularly if you have metabolites or products that are similar in composition to the normal bone minerals. So we have a mineral called hydroxyapatite, which contains calcium and phosphorus and other things. And so when you have contaminants that kind of look chemically similar to that, they can end up going into the bones of the body as well. Examples, strontium, lead, and fluoride. In fact, you've probably heard of skeletal fluorosis. This is where you get too much fluoride coming in from the water or from supplements and so forth. And so you end up depositing some of that into the bone tissue. Normal body processes can help get rid of some of these stored materials. Depending on what we're storing, some of that can have some dangerous effects on the body. Great method for detoxification, although it's really not detoxification. We could think of it as pre-detoxification because what we're thinking about is limiting the number of those chemicals that come in. So looking at the food and beverage that we consume, looking at our environment, thinking about the kinds of chemicals that are present there, and just reducing our exposure to things that are not useful for the body. So that's a really big help in the detoxification process. We can support kidney function by making sure that we have good circulation. That's good, healthy cardiovascular system and proper hydration. Now, when we talked about the kidneys, I said it is possible to have excess amount of water taken in by mouth. If we have excess fluid, that's called hyponatremia or water intoxication. It's very dangerous. So we don't want that. We want to have proper hydration, but not excess amount of water. Adequate fiber, and we talked about that in the gut episode, different sources of fiber. Fiber helps the gut to do its job, helps keep things moving, helps to get rid of waste materials. Preventing damage from excess sugar and alcohol helps the liver to work well. Did you know that you can cause non-alcoholic fatty liver disease with sugar? So sugar can damage the liver just like alcohol can. Biotransformation is the term for changing different chemicals or metabolites into a different chemical. And this is a normal part of the detoxification removal process. So sometimes that biotransformation reaction can make that chemical even more toxic. And then it's really important to further transform it to get rid of it. Biotransformation is a normal part of body metabolism. Sometimes individuals are missing, because of genetics, they are missing a particular enzyme, and so they end up accumulating a whole bunch of those intermediate chemicals. And once that's identified, then we can apply treatment to help get rid of those metabolites and, more importantly, how to avoid taking in those chemicals that are going to cause accumulation. The vast majority of biotransformation takes place in the liver. So the liver is particularly important, as we discussed in the liver episode. Vitamins are cofactors, so that means that they are necessary for the chemical reactions to take place. They help the enzymes that are involved in biotransformation. Proper nutrition is very important. Now, in a perfect world, we could get all of that from just the food that we are consuming. But different industrial farming practices and food processing have reduced the amount of available nutrients in the food, so it may be necessary to get supplements. But you want to be careful with the supplements. Make sure that they're extracted from quality ingredients. And another thing with the supplements, the vitamins are complex organic molecules that can have different forms. So we want to make sure that we get the form that's actually useful for the body. Some of the less expensive, lower quality supplements, they do contain these vitamins, but it's not in a form that's useful for the body. So the quality of supplements is really important. We want to make sure that it's extracted from healthy food-related sources. Otherwise, you're just adding to your toxic load because the materials in the vitamin are not going to be useful and you have to get rid of them. I'm actually going to be putting together a full class on the detoxification process, talking about the different methods that are involved and how natural detoxification works. And when it is ready, I will post an announcement on this platform. So stay tuned.